Hey, 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 it's Mia. Hey.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Alright, so I guess I should start off with a life update. For those of you that only follow me on here, I'm back in Toronto. Yay! It's kind of the worst time to move back to Toronto since we've been in lockdown since I got back. But it's fine. I'm fine. So I've been back in Toronto since January. So as you can see, I got a new room, a new setup. It's real nice. Piper, leave bad boy alone. I swear to God. Stop eating him. She keeps trying to massacre my wicker cactus bad boy. Look at her stalking behind me. Yeah, so obviously, due to coronavirus, I had to find my apartment online. I couldn't come and visit apartments. I had to do online viewings. And I feel like we really lucked out with this place. It is really nice. I was able to get a full house, which was something I wanted. But it is quirky, to say the least. We've had quite the time since moving in here. So let's roll it all back to January and start at the beginning. So I flew from Fredericton to Toronto just before they shut down flights to the Fredericton airport. Landed, some family friends picked me up from the airport with some of my things, and they helped me get into the house and get that half of my things into the house as well. So Chris, I first walked into the place and I was like, wow, I get to live here? And then my family friends left and I was all alone. And that's when I realized it was really cold and I couldn't find the heat dial anywhere. I looked everywhere except for the basement. Because I opened up that basement door and it looked terrifying. And there was no damn way I was going down there alone when I was home alone. I didn't even know where the fucking lights were for the basement. Jesus. There was only one armchair down in the living room for now. I hadn't unpacked my mattress yet. I didn't have my bed frame that was in my other half of things that I was going to get the next day. So I curled up on this armchair underneath so many blankets and had my jacket on. I ordered food and I kept going back and looking around the house and trying to find this heat dial. I think it was 3 hours. So at this point it's probably 11 o'clock at night, maybe midnight. And I finally find this fucking heat dial. And I'll put in a take of showing you what it looks like. And as obviously it's, I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. This didn't look like a heat dial. It looked I thought maybe it was the doorbell or some shit. Anyway, so I finally figured that out, and there's all these long-ass instructions on how to work this heat dial because this house is 150 years old, and I think the heating system is from the 70s. But I figured it out. And ever so slowly, by 1 degree per hour, the house started to heat up. So needless to say, I did not really sleep that night. But it was fine, because I had a house. And I figured it out, guys. I went the next day and got the other half of my things from my storage locker that I've been paying for a year. R.I.P. to my wallet. And then I had everything in my new home. Fantastic, right? My first roommate arrived the next day, so I didn't have to be alone in this big old house anymore. And then I finally got to go into the basement for the first time. I went down with him. And it was no less terrifying being with someone and during the day. I got down there and I was immediately overwhelmed with the feeling of,
Get out! Get out!
I was I am not welcome in my basement. It's a really old unfinished basement with cut rock flooring. It's super freaking sketch. So anyway, my roommate and I, Tom, continued to unpack things, and we started moving like boxes that had been empty down to the basement. And I went down alone with the box and put it into the back room and went to come back up. And the stairs, you can see right through them. They're like stairs like that, where there's like space in between. And I could see right through to the very back room, which is like the sketchiest part of the basement. I saw like a white figure standing there. And I was like, no. It's probably just Tom just probably put something in that room. Yeah. And tried to like banish that thought from my brain, because I was like, I don't want to deal with no ghosts. I don't want to deal with no ghosts. On another trip, I go back down with another box. I put it in the room. I go back up the stairs. And now there's nothing in that back room. No white figure. Now keep in mind, these trips were back to back. There was nobody else down in the basement before or after me. That's when I was like, okay, I feel like we have a ghost. So my grandmother is a witch. I come from a long line of witches. I called my grandmother to be like, I think I have a ghost. And she was like, honey, where's the ghost? And I was like, well, it's in the basement. She was like, okay, well, it may not be a ghost. Our family has an aversion towards basements. And I was like, okay. And she was like, okay, well, even if it is a ghost, you might just be projecting your own fear onto the spirit. It may not be an unfriendly ghost. It could be a perfectly friendly ghost. And I was like, all right, Nana, you're right. I gotta stop acting so afraid. So I swept up the salt line that I had put on the entrance to the basement and moved on. We really didn't end up having any more issues with the basement ghost. I still think there is a ghost down there, but so far she's been friendly. She's been chill. I think she was just as freaked out as we were when we got here. She was like, who are you? And we were like, who are you? You know? But now we're roommates. We keep to our own spaces. It's fine. So then, the first week that we were trying to do the garbage, because we had a lot of confusion around when our garbage was supposed to go out, and the previous tenants had left garbage in the garbage can. Anyway, so my roommate Tom and his girlfriend Abby went outside to organize our garbage and discovered a colony of rats living in the garbage can. They said there was about 20 of them. They tipped the garbage can over and all the rats went like fucking scurrying. And all of us roommates went outside to help shovel the garbage into new garbage bags and get it all organized for garbage pickup. And then, I think it was either the next day or the day after that, I was sitting in the living room watching my anime, and my roommate had gone downstairs to do laundry, Hannah. I did not hear her scream. She did scream though. What I heard was when she started to go, Mia! And I was like, what the fuck? And I took off my headphones and realized it was her coming from the basement. And I went downstairs. She'd been doing the laundry. And she'd been switching her wash load over to the dryer and picked up what she thought was a sock that had fallen out of her laundry pile. And she picked it up, and it was a dead baby rat. And obviously she fucking dropped that shit, like, ew. So I went and I got her boyfriend, Owen. And Owen and I ran downstairs, and we had plastic bags and paper towel, and we're like, we gotta pick up the rat. And Owen and I both keep going to pick it up, and we kept chickening out, and she picked it up and put it in the bag and tied it all up. And poor Hannah, she felt so bad. She thought she'd murdered the thing. And we were all trying to comfort her. We're like, maybe it's like a full-grown mole. Maybe it lived like a whole life. No, it was definitely a baby rat. We realized we did a lot of Googling. Well, Hannah did a lot of Googling. And that's when we started to think, maybe we have a rat problem. So we did like some investigating around the basement. We couldn't like see any signs of rats. And then Hannah and I thought we heard like squeaking in the ceiling, but it could have also been like people walking around. So we like emailed our landlord and we were like, I think we have a rat problem. They were like, okay, well, maybe you do. Get some rat traps, we'll pay you back for them and see if you catch anything. And if you catch anything, then we'll send like a rat guy. So we set up all these traps and we weren't catching anything. But then Hannah discovered one of the traps had been like displaced and all the peanut butter had been eaten off of it. So this rat had eaten the peanut butter off of it without setting the trap off. And this trap was one that Hannah had set up by one of the openings to the ceiling because she had a theory that the rats were in the ceiling. She's very smart, Hannah. Love her to death. So she reset this trap and put a different kind of like bait on it. It was like peanut butter and cheese and put it back up there. And that is when we caught one of the fuckers. Now, I was extremely hungover the day that we caught this guy, so I don't entirely, I didn't see it. I was up here in this bed trying not to vomit. But I have some great pictures, which I will not include in this video because they are pretty graphic. And we sent these graphic images of this dead rat with its like head smushed by the trap, like smushed in half. Like, it is gruesome. We sent these pictures to our property manager. And then she decided it was time to send in the rat guy. Now, there's not much story to the rat guy coming because he just set up like a bunch of poison or traps and stuff. We didn't catch anything, but the poison might have been brought back to the leader and all the rats are probably dead in the ceiling now, rotting, as far as we know. But that wasn't the end of the beginning of our issues in this house. Everything's been fine, but a little while after the whole rat dilemma, I come out of my room in the middle of the night and smelled what I thought could possibly be like gas. Like, it was strong smelling, but we couldn't quite place what it was. So I go downstairs and Hannah and Owen had both smelled it too. We're all looking around trying to figure out where it is. We figured out the scent was strongest like in the kitchen over on the far end of it. And so we woke Tom and Abby up and we were all like, man, we should probably call the fire department. Like, there might be a fucking gas leak. So we call the fire department, we're asked to like step outside, and we all go outside and we're like, wow, we have had a time in this house for the first 2 months. Like, it has been a wild freaking ride. The firemen all go in and they like are in there for like a couple minutes and then they come out and they tell us that the smell was
Melted plastic.
because our dishwasher was too hot. And it melted a plastic container that was in there. Anyway, we got a new dishwasher and everything was fine. Now, we haven't had any more issues in this place for like the last 2 months. It was just those first 2 months that it just seemed like everything was popping up. But you know, it's an old house. It's a bit of a fixer-upper. I'm still happy to live here. Thank you so much for bearing with me and listening to my crazy ass story about my crazy ass house and my crazy ass life. I'm just so crazy. I make myself want to vomit sometimes.